Hello, AI friends. Welcome to
Yo.
the Full Stack Friday show. Um, I've got with me Chris Demars and Eric Johansson. We are going to talk about AI today. I think we're going to kick things off with some GPU droplets. Chris, you're at a conference.
Ooh, I
Where are
am.
you at
Yes, I
again?
am.
Denver
So,
somewhere?
yeah, I'm at Denver Dev Day. It's today.
You've got some stuff that you're working with DigitalOcean on, the company that you work for. You have these new GPU droplets, which are
Yep.
very AI specific things, and that's what our
Yes,
show's
they are.
about. So, you want to start off talking a little bit about GPU droplets, Chris?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna show. So I just put out a video on LinkedIn yesterday, and I just put out a video today on Twitter on how to set up your first GPU droplet. And it's painless, right? It's it's one of those things where it's very much like a click and create type of thing. So I am going to show you how to do that today. Let me share my screen.
When
Let
it
me
comes
find a
to
screen.
AI, I like click and create.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, right?
So I don't know what I'm doing
I
otherwise.
well,
Simple.
I mean, if you have to do like a lot of configuration and stuff like that, and it doesn't even matter. Like anything that you do with web and software, when you have to start modifying files and then doing A, B, and C, it becomes a headache. So let me.
I mean, I don't get to write YAML to do this.
Right, right. Let me figure this one out real
Our
quick.
good friend Lance McCarthy was working with GitHub Actions yesterday, and he's writing YAML like it's second nature to him. And I'm like, no,
Uh,
I don't get it.
that's funny. So first things first, when you are setting up your GPU droplet, make sure that you're logged into your DigitalOcean account. If you don't have one, you can sign up for like App Platform for free, and you have to use your credit card to kind of like authorize a little bit, and you get a little bit of a charge, but then it goes back. But any of the services that you use, if you're not using like the free tier of App Platform, you're going to get charged for. So just be very, very careful of that. Um, so yeah, if you wanted to start using stuff, you can start using it. You're just gonna have to pay for certain things. So yeah, if you're logged in your DigitalOcean account and you navigate over to manage, you're going to see an option in this menu for GPU droplets. Click on GPU droplets, and it's going to take you to like the GPU droplets page, right? So what the cloud console is telling you is that you don't have any GPU droplets, right? So you're going to be prompted to create one if you want to create one. So click on the create a GPU droplet. Now there's a bunch of information here, right? You got a summary of what it is that you already pre-selected with, the charges, stuff like that. So you're going to pick a data center. I'm going to pick Toronto. I'm going to leave the image just checked for AI ML ready, but you can choose, Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian. For the GPU plan, I'm going to choose the cheapest one, right? I'm going to choose the NVIDIA H100X8s. Let's just choose one of
I was
those.
looking at the 339 price there per hour and thinking, wow, that's like my first job salary.
Right, right. Well, 290. Let's see, all day. Let's see. So let's choose New York, and then depending on what data center you use, it will be the same according to these GPUs. But some are available in certain areas, some are available in others. So Toronto,
But it's coming.
yeah, Toronto's good. So we'll stick with that. 299 GPU per hour. You can add volume block storage. You can choose if you want to do backups. If you don't have an SSH key to make this all work, you can add an SSH key here. I'm just going to choose one that already exists. So it's my work machine. And you can change the name. You can leave this custom name for the droplet if you want, or you can change it to whatever you want. You can select the project that this belongs to, so you can reference it, and then you can put tags, AI, ML, front end, whatever the case may be for other types of referencing, and then you should be good to go. Create the GPU droplet. It's going to take a hot second, so we don't have to show it. Um, but at the end, it'll tell you that your GPU droplet is created. It'll give you your droplet cost, your breakdown right here. Over in the connection details, it'll give you a public IP and a private IP that you can SSH into and add things if you need to do that, or if you need to clone your project from GitHub into that droplet so you can start working with your AI ML models and all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff, you're ready to rock and roll. So that's pretty much how to set up a GPU droplet on DigitalOcean. It's very painless. Took less than 5 minutes to do it. Like I said, when they spin up the GPU droplets, it's going to take a little bit. It doesn't take forever, but a GPU droplet is heavy, heavy hardware, right? So, yeah, that's that. Thanks for letting me show that, Ed. I'm going to stop and share my screen.
Yeah, no problem. Like, do you know, like, how do you interact with the droplets once it's spun up? Is that,
You just SSH into it. Like once you have it
like a
set up, you can
virtual machine?
SSH. Yep, you can SSH directly into the droplet via the IP, and you can start doing stuff in there, or you can just take your GitHub project and clone it into your droplet once you're in there, and you should be you should be good to go.
So
We're doing a lot of work in that space still though, so
yeah. So it's
Do you
essentially
have
like
an
a
allow
virtual
list for
machine.
the IPs they can contact in? Or is that
that's a great
everyone on
question.
the internet?
I think there is an allow list. I don't know, to
No.
be totally honest.
Yeah, it sounds like it's similar to like a virtual machine, but it's carved out like a bank of these high-speed GPUs from NVIDIA, and
Right.
those things are insanely powerful. Like
Mm.
I was reading that Microsoft and Google have provisioned nuclear power plants to
I saw
be
that on Hacker Noon on
recommissioned,
Hacker News. Yeah.
or they're investing in new infrastructure to have these things available. And I love this comment somebody dropped. They said, "Can't you just write your own freaking email?" I was like, that is too funny because it's like, if you think about it, that's what's happening. Like you go in a box and you're like, write an email to so and so,
Mm.
resigning from this position, enter, and like somewhere in a nuclear power plant, there's there's a couple you know, cores of uranium dropping down to power this thing. But
Yeah, but
that's
they are already able to run for quite a while without human input, so why not?
the AIs are going to consume all of the power.
Yeah.
That's our future. The Matrix maybe wasn't too far off. We started building an app a couple weeks ago, and my whole Visual Studio was busted.
I
So
remember.
I got back on top of that on the last
Yeah, that was
show.
funny.
Yeah, that was not funny. I
That
hated
was
that.
funny.
That was a bad experience. Like, hey Chris, look how awesome Visual Studio is, and then it totally just
Yeah.
crashes and burns. So I've got a dashboard now, thanks to a working Visual Studio and the Telerik UI for Blazor accelerators, the app templates that we have. So I loaded up one of our app templates, and I've got a nice accordion style menu here that hides away some of the examples that we're going to build, so we can fill this up with all sorts of AI samples. And then when you click on them, we'll have individual pages with those samples in them. So we can build stuff now. So
Sweet.
we got the full stack experience set up here. I'll take you for a quick tour of the project. Um, let's get this window out of the way. Solution Explorer back up. There we go. And then let's do a little zoom tool so we can focus in and annotate on this. We've got the back end and the front end of the house here.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept the name, Chris. You suggested Chris and Ed's AI Funhouse. I liked it. We ran with it. We've got the back end here. This is an ASP.NET server. And it is essentially loading up the Blazor front end application. So the ASP.NET server doesn't have really anything to do yet. It has one AI chat service in it, but nothing else really. And then we have the Blazor WebAssembly front end here. I've turned pre-rendering off on this because it can be problematic for demo stuff. It's more of a production thing that you might want to turn on. So this is the front end. This is where all the HTML, CSS, and all that good stuff is going to be. When we build our services, they'll be in the ASP.NET server, and that lets us separate like our Azure keys or whatever service keys that we have, so they're not floating around the client where they can be picked up and abused. Because you showed the DigitalOcean dashboard there, and it was like $29 an hour. Some of these other services are similar in price, where you don't want the keys getting out in the public because somebody might go in and abuse. Can you imagine if somebody got your droplet like credentials and just was like, all right, I'm going to go, mine
Yeah.
Bitcoin on that droplet for a couple hours while you're not paying attention.
Yeah. No,
Never
it's
Then you
not
trust
get
the
good.
hit like
users.
It's not good.
get like a $10,000 credit card bill, and you're like, oh, that's not fun.
I think that
So
happened to Have I Been Pwned, where
yeah,
someone managed to get a hold of some kind of key and he got an Azure bill of like $20,000 for a month.
yeah, those things do happen.
Microsoft
So that
apparently forgave it, so didn't have to pay that. But
And I think we're getting some latency issues with StreamYard, so you might see Eric's camera freeze now and then. So if you're watching the stream, it's something with the connection's just not happy today. So
yeah, I can see that.
as long as you don't make any really awkward faces when it freezes, Eric, you'll be good, my friend.
I'll try.
So I was thinking we could have a little bit of fun with the application layout, or not layout, but the theming. And this is our app. I built it with the Telerik UI for Blazor bits. And one of the things that we have done over the last, I'd say 6 months, is we've incorporated CSS variables into all of our design themes. So if I were to just right click on this, and I think you'll appreciate this, Chris, you're a front end dude, and you've got some front end skills. You know how important CSS variables are.
Yeah, I mean, I have a little bit of front end skills, you know.
If you look here, all of that is our theming capabilities for
Love it.
our website. So that means in real time, bring Eric back here. In real time, I can go to this color primary variable and watch this. Oh yeah.
Yep, love it.
So what I'm thinking we might want to do with this is let AI decide what the colors for the website will be.
Well, you want to know something? I want to show you something real quick on here, and you might not know, and it's an accessibility thing.
Oh, in the
If
panel there?
you go to the heading level AI chat and select it, inspect it. Yeah. All right. Now see where it says the color variable on that. I think
Right.
this might work. Hopefully this works. If you click on the blue square, it may or may not work. We'll see. Perfect. So see where it says contrast ratio 6.76? Click on that. Now you see those two lines up top,
Mm-hmm.
and see that little circle? Move that around.
Yeah. Like,
See
so
how you
if
can
we
see it
go,
change, and you can see whether or not you pass AA or AAA. So this is a good way to test the accessibility, the color contrast of your app when it comes to text elements, right? And it only works for text elements like anchors, H1, H2, paragraphs. But the top line is level AA, and the bottom line is level AAA. So that's a really, really good way to test your color contrast, because you can see it in real time what the ratio is and what if you're passing AA or AAA. So just wanted
and
to
it
show that.
looks like it has links here too to the definitions of what that
Yep.
means.
Yep.
I had
Just
not
links to the
seen that,
docs.
and that was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote an article about it years and years ago, because it came out in like Chrome versions, like in like the 50s versions of Chrome. And I wrote an article about it many, many moons ago. And now, we're way, way ahead of that. But it works in all Chromium browsers. So that's why it works in Edge.
For the youngins watching, that was the version 50, not
Yeah,
1950s.
not the night, because none of us were around in the 1950s.
Nor was the internet, but
No, no. Well, maybe the early days, the way, way early days.
so back on topic here. We're going to use some of those.
Exponential, exactly, Surly.
And I was thinking we use AI to come up with theme colors. And one way we can do that is if we go to Azure AI Vision. And with Azure AI Vision, what we can do is we can do some image analysis. And I'm trying to remember where to find this. I think it's in this version. Maybe it's under how-to guides. Call the Analyze API. And what we could do with this, we can send an image to the cloud and let AI scan it. And AI will come back with a description, categories, tags, a list of objects, faces, whether it is appropriate, if there's any brands, celebrities, landmarks. Here we go. Color scheme. So it will identify color schemes in the image. And some of those colors that things that it can come back with are, is it black and white? We could do like a cool black and white theme. Does it have an accent color? You can bring that accent color back and use that accent color as your primary color on your theme here. And then you could take that and use CSS to calculate the remaining colors from that base color. Sound pretty cool?
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking that might be a demo that we build next, is like a
Let's do it.
theme selector.
That sounds cool.
That is AI powered by Azure
Mhm.
Vision. What's cool about Azure Vision is it's trained already on like tons and tons of images, so you don't have to go through all that training for you or manually and do it yourself. There are some caveats here. I've used this before, and I don't know why, but there is a different API in version 4 that does not include the image or the coloring aspects of the image. I don't know why they didn't migrate that up to version 4. So when you use this, there are two different NuGet packages because there's not like a version selector in the API. They're completely different APIs for version 4 and version 3.2. So if you want the features that are in 3.2, you have to use the 3.2 APIs and the NuGet packages that correspond to it. If you want,
Can you use them concurrently?
you can, but you're going to add two dependencies and they're two different API calls. So this one has things that the other one doesn't. You've got something like this background removal. That one's currently in preview. So you can send up an image and it will essentially, like Photoshop does, it will identify objects that are in the foreground and then give you back an SVG layer mask to crop that out. So that one's interesting. That one's in preview. This one I think has more customization features. This one has product recognition. I don't know exactly how that differs from the brand recognition. Like the brand one, I think is more like a logo thing. So if you have like a picture and it's like a person wearing a branded, tracksuit or something, it will find the logos on that piece of clothing and say like this brand is inside of that photo. So that's a little bit different, I think, than a product recognition. So I
Will
don't
that
know.
capture one of Jeff's hats? Fritz.
Oh, here we go. Here's an example of what it does. So this is more, I think what they might have done, and I'm just guessing just by what I'm seeing here. It's like version 3 was more utility and, kind of build your own things from these APIs. And the 4.0 is a little more customer focused, where they might have gotten feedback like, here's specific scenarios that we need to build, and we don't, necessarily want to build them ourselves, but we could use the foundation for identifying products on a shelf. And here we are with a preview for that. So I'm just guessing that's maybe what's happening here. So these seem to be a little more specific, targeted APIs. But there's some really cool stuff going on in here. The background removal, like I said, that one's neat. It just like gives you this SVG layer that you can use to crop your images.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So one of the things that like I've always tried to attempt to do like in Photoshop or finding like free images and like tracing out stuff is getting the Detroit skyline, right? For various projects that I'm building, right? Or stickers I want to create or logos I want to create for various things. And that's like hard to do, right? Like you can't just find free Detroit skyline imagery. You know what I mean? Or you got to
Yeah.
pay somebody to do it, right? But if you could get a free photograph like on Wikimedia or Unsplash or something like that, and be able to use this to rip that out and then get like a silhouette of the skyline, that's really cool.
Yep, and it does it all intelligently with this image recognition stuff. So it's trained on data. It's not doing like the magic wand like type of like old school Photoshoppy thing where you're like, okay, you click on something that's pretty easy to identify already, and then it
Right.
just, you know what I
Yeah, and
mean?
you
It's
just
doing it by
trace it with
color.
the magic wand. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Tracing it with the
Yeah.
magic wand and then connecting the points and then
Yeah.
This
figuring out
is
how to
more of
cut
a
that out.
Yeah, this is more of a smart select, which if you have Photoshop, like you can do this today. It
Yeah.
does identify like they may be, they probably have their own algorithms, but they may be
Photoshop has
using
come a
something
long way.
similar.
Photoshop has come
Dude,
a
It
it's
long way.
has.
insane. I just I didn't renew it for the first time this year, and it's just something I don't have time to use right now. But when I do, I'm just always amazed at all the new stuff they add.
Yeah.
There's so much
I
cool stuff.
did the math myself, and I figured that every time I open an Adobe product, I pay $10 because I use them so seldom.
Yeah.
So I figured, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try some alternatives.
I have a fishing YouTube channel, and so I'm always making thumbnails. So like I use it all the time. And the remove
Mhm.
background feature in Photoshop is perfect because then I can remove stuff out of the picture, put it onto another picture, and then upload that as my thumbnail.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the smart object, but they've got like the content aware fill, and that's FILL, not PHIL.
Yeah, when that
Content aware
came out,
fill
that
is
was
like really cool.
insane. Yeah.
Still is very insane. Like,
Yeah, it's gotten better, but it was insane from the start.
yeah, this is where it uses AI to fill in your crop tool. And
Mhm.
it looks like this might have a good animation of it or not. I guess that was YouTube. Wasn't going to try to play a whole video, but let's see if this will got the audio cut there. But there you go. You do fill and you choose content aware. And this is a little bit older of a video. This is from 13 years ago. Is it really that old
Yeah.
already?
Yeah.
Wow, this stuff moves fast. And like, boof, you can just delete stuff out of the scenery. This has gotten insanely powerful these days. This is from 13 years
Yeah.
ago. Holy cow.
I might
So
be reverse
yeah,
aging myself, but I was almost I was still in high school when version 1 of this feature came out. So
yikes.
it's that old, but that's version 1, and that was cool, but not good. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so now you can actually select something like this balloon and say, replace it with a dragon, and it will AI generate an image of a dragon and then delete the
Mhm.
background and drop that in. So it's gotten even more wild with all the AI stuff. So we're gonna grab Azure AI and do a little bit of like AI image recognition and use that with our CSS code here. So we'll go ahead and get that started then. We need to, first of all, jump into Visual Studio. And we're going to need some dependencies to talk to this service. And I'm going to need my documentation back. And I think I closed it. So
Is
go
Visual
back.
Studio working today,
It
Ed?
is working because I.
Eh,
So the .NET team's probably not going to be happy for me beating this dead horse, but I installed Visual Studio 2022 Preview, and it put the release candidate for .NET 9 on my system, and it nuked both versions of Visual Studio, which it is not supposed to do. And this has been kind of something that was promised a long time ago that wouldn't happen, that you're supposed to be able to side by side install different versions of .NET and not have conflicts like that. And
that is why you use a virtual machine.
that is why you use virtual machine.
do you know about DigitalOcean in Droplets?
Do you do Windows though?
That's funny. Do you do Windows? Do you know how Windows works, Ed?
You open them and let in fresh air. That's how they work.
Yeah.
Fresh
I
air.
was expecting that one.
The good old Denver air that I'm in right now. I love it.
I've never been there. I've heard good things.
So Denver, it's cool. Like it's cool. Whatever. Like you know, I lived here for a year and moved back to Michigan. It's cool. It's nice. It's nice. The air's dry. The one really really cool thing about Denver is that it's 300 days of sunshine. Like there's a big misconception that it's always snowy and stuff. It's not. It's not snowy. Like I've been here and it's been in the 80s all week.
Not bad.
No. So it's pretty. And anywhere you're at in Denver, you can pretty much see the mountains because you're sort of, you're right there.
In contrast, Sweden gets about a week and a half of summer.
I could never live there.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, I'm out. I need my heat.
You should do Sweat Tug in February sometime, Chris.
Well, I know we were supposed to do it that one year, and then that kind of fell apart on my end. But
so the first thing that you need to do if you want to use Azure Cognitive, I'm going by the old names. This is like these AI products on the Microsoft side have changed names more than I can remember, right? This is like, the typical like Windows XP, Windows 11, like there's always a different moniker for these things every time they come out. No difference here. It used to be called Azure Cognitive Services. So if you hear me say cognitive services, that's where I got that from. But it is under
that applies to everything.
Category. Yeah, it's under a different category than the Gen AI or generative AI stuff, like the GPTs and the Open AIs. It fits into a different bucket. These are utilitarian, like trained models that are for specific capabilities. Like they're already fine-tuned for something. So there's a couple different ones. Computer vision is one of those categories. So under computer vision, you would spin up an instance of this service in your Azure portal. So that process looks kind of similar to what Chris showed. Like you do new here, and you select your resource groups. These can be different locations throughout the globe where these servers reside. And then there's different pricing tiers and so on and so forth. And I think this one has a free tier that you can use a couple requests. It's like 1,000 requests, something small enough that you can build demos, but you can't really deploy like a full-fledged application and abuse. So it's
I can see you're using F0, so that would be free.
Yeah, F0 is the pricing plan.
Mhm.
And those plans can fluctuate. I don't remember what it was when I signed up for it, but it was adequate enough. I could do demos all day,
Mm.
at conferences and stuff, and not hit the upper limit of it. So I have this Azure. It's still named Cognitive Vision from when I created it a long time ago. And I've already spun this one up, and I have keys for it. And it's very similar to the other services where you have an endpoint, which is like a custom URL for your deployment of this service, and then you have a key to access it that you don't want getting into the wild for abuse reasons. So yeah, there we go. Free. And why not have a copy to clipboard function there? Why
Yeah.
not, right?
Why not?
Um, sure. Okay. So what we need to do is actually make use of this now. Like it's deployed up in the cloud. We can call it, but we need the APIs to call it. We need to jump back over to documentation for it. And let's see, let's get off here it is. Go to Azure Vision Studio. There's always links somewhere. Something that Azure doesn't do very well is put them in the same place all the time,
Mm.
but you'll usually find them on the overview page in some fashion. For the generative AI stuff, it's up here next to the delete button in the toolbar. So this one's down here, and we'll jump over back to the documentation page.
Some services have it in the menu.
Yeah,
It's either on overview or its own tab.
yeah, standardization, not their
Yeah,
strong
no.
suit, but fortunately, the models work really well.
Mm.
There's a lot of demos here that you can try as well. Let's see. I think they removed some of the 3.2 stuff, but let's see if it's still here. Extract text, extract common tags, caption to images. That one's pretty cool for a accessibility feature. Is it can auto generate alt text based on an image. So if somebody doesn't include it, you can circle back and generate it. It's better than not having anything at all.
Mm.
Or you can offer suggestions because people never know how to write those things correctly. That you can see like the cropping in there. I think these are all the 4.0 examples, though, if I remember correctly. But we can take a look at one of them. Let's click image analysis and see if we could find the color one. I don't see color. It would be possibly under like categorization or detect common objects or tags. Let's see if tags has it. This is, it doesn't say what version I'm using here, but we can drag or click on some of these images. This one gives you detected attributes. It has people in it, a subway, and then these percentages are the probability that it is there, like it's identified.
Mm.
So it's 95% sure there's clothing in this picture. It is 76% sure there are people in this picture, and so on. I would imagine if it drops below 50%, it doesn't show it. We can try a couple more and see. So it's 64% sure there's coffee in this picture. Now, this one I don't see coming with the image or the color analysis. So this is probably the newer version. Let's see if we click on the View SDK. Yeah, that's
That's
the
number 4.
4.0. So we want to go back to version 3 because, again, for some reason that color aspect is not included in the new one. Call and analyze API. Call the image analysis 3.2 API, and we can grab a C# example here.
Yeah, that helped.
Yeah, so you create a URL of an image. So this API can work off of a URL of a photo, or you can send it raw data of a photo. And then when you get it back, it comes across the wire as JSON, as most things do these days. And it there are strong types that the API provides in C#. If you were to do like JavaScript, for example, let's see if we've got like a JSON output. Let's try to see if it had a raw JSON reference in here. It used to on the old page, like the one I showed you for the version 4, it would show you the raw output. This one doesn't seem to have it, but we don't really need to know it. I just was kind of interested in seeing it for the sake of the show. And then you can go through all of these various properties when you call image analysis, analyze image async. You can walk through all of these different features and look and see if the values are in there. You can also define what you want to get back. Maybe you're not interested in all of this stuff. You don't have to call it. It's still, you still kind of traverse the same object to find it, but the fields won't be populated. What it essentially does is cuts down on the traffic across the wire. So you're not sending a bunch of JSON responses back and serializing a bunch of data you're not going to use.
I'm also going
So
to assume that it could save money if you're on a paid tier.
It may. I'm not sure if it registers that or not.
It feels
Yeah.
like
Could
these
be.
should be multiple models that runs over the image.
It would probably be.
Yeah.
I haven't tested it to see if it changes the cost of it, but you can definitely define what models you want to run against it or what analysis you want to do on it. So if you're looking for faces, you can add the faces feature. If you're looking for color, you can add the color feature and so on.
Hey, Ed, I'm going to take off.
All right, buddy.
Right.
Have a good time at your conference. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care, Chris,
And
and
we'll
good
see
luck.
See you
week,
next
man.
week. Later.
All right. So we need this SDK. And we need to make sure we get the right one. Because remember, there's 2 versions, and there's no version selector within the SDK. It is the SDK itself that identifies the version. And when I've used this in the past, that has caught me off guard. Because I started writing code, and I'm like, these objects don't match what I saw in the documentation. What is wrong?
I don't
So if
like
you
this.
do something like Azure
You're on installed
Vision.
and you're on the private NuGet.
Oh, thank you. That always trips me up.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen the show before, I assume. You're like, he's at it again.
I've never done that. Never.
So you'll see we've got
Feels like they
Azure
have split it.
Vision analysis.
What's the release date on that? It's from earlier
Yeah.
this year, so
This is the newer one. So I think this is the 4.0,
yeah.
which the version of this is 1.0, but that's the API version, not the AI's API version.
Hmm.
And then there is Microsoft Cognitive Services Vision. So it's still using the old terminology for the product. And this one is at version 2. And I think this is the correct one. And I know it says it in the documentation somewhere. Let's see. Submit data. How to. Yeah, see, it's. Either I'm bad at reading documentation or it's not just
Can't
jumping
see it
out.
either, so
We've got the API reference, how-to guides.
you have
That's
one
enterprise
thing you could
readiness.
try.
This 2 sets of how-to guides. What's that?
If you grab one of the types that we use, and then you just try to instantiate an instance of it, and sometimes it says, "Oh, you can use this NuGet package to get that." So where do we create the client instance? If you go back to the example.
2. I think I might have found the right. There's a sample GitHub repo. Let's take a quick look there first.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can try just typing it in and seeing if it comes up with one. Usually the package, the auto package finding thing is for stuff that is part of the .NET like
Yeah, it's always iffy.
library.
Mm.
So it's, if it's something that is not necessarily built into .NET, but it's one of the Microsoft, core packages for .NET, it'll find it.
Yeah.
Here we go, computer vision, and then be under, let's see, a proj file in here. There's a solution file. I guess there's multiple projects in here,
Yeah,
maybe?
I'd say so as well.
Detect objects, tag image. Hopefully this is the version I click through.
And that didn't help.
Yeah, I don't see it in there either.
Mm.
Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services samples computer vision tag image. So that full namespace tells me that this is probably the one we want.
Yeah, this seems to only be using some kind of REST call. Don't think that uses the package at all.
Yeah, it may not. That's another thing that you'll find with the newer version that is in beta is there are things that are supported in just the REST service that aren't wrapped in the API library yet. So there'll be like a note when you go to use it and you like click on it. There's no objects listed. And it's like, you have to use the REST service. This is not available in the NuGet API. So you might find that as well. I'm pretty sure it is these packages here that are the old version.
Yeah, you could try it.
Yeah, these are the 3 dot whatevers. And because these say cognitive services, and then the newer ones are Azure AI.
Yeah.
AI Vision. So they have the new branding on them. So we need the computer vision service. We'll install that one. And I like that there's the face one is in preview, but it's still the old version of the API. So I guess it's still under date published 2022.
Yeah, they just gave up on that one.
Still in preview. Yeah, that one. I wouldn't put any bets on that one. And then there's vision prediction that is fully released. So I don't think we need vision prediction.
They're all fairly old.
Yes, this has been around for a bit, these demos. But they're the only ones that have this is the only one that has the color aspect. And I'm not sure if just people weren't using that feature very much, so they just didn't include it in 4.0, or what the deal was with that. Yeah, so we installed let's see here, the Azure or Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services Vision Computer Vision package. So we needed that. And then what we need to do is set up a service to talk to it. So let's do that. Let's add a new class here. And then for this, let's just call it computer vision. Computer vision service. All right. And then we need to do stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do we have for our APIs? I have feedback. Standardize this stuff and put all of the documentation where we can find it, because this is bringing me to not the right place.
But what do we need? We need to be able to upload an image, and we need to get some kind of data back from it. So could create a blank object as a return and then start going from there. Almost TDD, but without the testing.
Right. Where was that one bit of documentation I had? Was it just off of a Google search?
I believe so.
Where was the one that had all the versions listed on it? Let's try the old terminology.
Yeah.
Cognitive vision. Boy, they really redirected the new stuff
Mm-hmm.
on top of it, didn't they? Oh, geez. Okay, resources, documentation. AI services. Ha.
Found it?
No. I need to bookmark that thing. Oh, here we go. I just found it by just going back. So it is under, where are we in this? Azure REST
That
API.
seems to be the pure REST API, though.
Yeah. So on the sidebar, we'll find it. Let's go back a couple more pages. There we go. Azure Vision documentation, scroll down to image analysis, and then version 3.2, call the API. So we need an image. Let's see if this image is in the cloud or if it's just a fake image. Oh, there's actually a dog image there. So that's good because it's a public image that we can get access to.
Yeah.
So one thing with this is it will reference images by URL, but that URL has to be public. So if you're debugging something and your URL is HTTP blah 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 localhost,
Yeah.
you're going to have a problem.
But
right?
there should be an option to upload a byte array, right?
Yes, there is.
So if you have access to the image locally, you can do it that way.
So we have to come up with a call to the service analyze image URL.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to list out the features, but we're missing like the login bit. There's a login.
Yeah, but that one takes a client as a object, like an argument. If you go down there and there's a computer vision client, I'm assuming
we need
that
to
you've
new up one
logged
of
in on that
those.
one.
Here we go. Computer vision client method. Instructors, properties, methods, extensions. There's got to be a quick start guide in here somewhere. Overview. Deep dives, image analysis, concepts, reference, 3.2, .NET. There's a GitHub resource. That's the one I think we might have looked at earlier. Samples. Cloud clipboard S. SDK, samples, docs, common.
So I found the JavaScript implementation here, and that has a property called credentials as a property on the client object. Could that be it?
See,
if you have a look at the computer vision client.
Computer vision client. Where at?
I just found the JavaScript documentation because I couldn't find the C# one.
Oh, in the JavaScript documentation.
Yeah, but that has a public property credentials that I'm assuming you can fill out.
Why did they make the documentation so difficult to find?
Just
like there should be a quick start guide in here somewhere.
Yeah, there is one under Use the API, Vision REST API or client libraries, and then we can look under client libraries.
Where?
Go to the content of the page. Use the API down there,
Oh, right here.
and there's a quick start.
Yeah, there's. Okay, there we. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That threw me off because it's okay. I guess it is the REST. When I think REST API, I'm not thinking. I'm thinking the JavaScript version of it, or just like a plain REST call without the wrappers on it. So here's the quick start. Computer vision quick start. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you, Eric.
Oh, you're welcome. And the computer vision client takes an API service client credentials in the
So we need
constructor.
keys, and then we needed to construct that, like you just said.
Mhm.
So step one, get our keys, right?
Yeah.
We have our OpenAI service that has keys,
Mm-hmm.
and we can use that code. Oh, wow. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I've done nothing. I've done nothing. I gave Copilot time is all I've done.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of this is correct, but it thinks it knows what we want to do. Let's hit tab and find out.
It doesn't look incorrect. Question is, will it compile?
How did I hit tab and it didn't do anything?
Okay. Go to line 4 and hit enter. No, that's obviously
I lost
wrong.
it. No.
Yeah.
All I did is walked away for a second. I went here, I copied this, and I came back.
But it started with
and
private read-only computer vision client. And I figured if you start
I
writing
guess
what
we have
it
to.
wrote, there
Oh.
you go.
Double tab there.
Perfect.
Let's see what it came up with.
And you need the namespace using. So just click
any of
and
these, control
yeah.
period, boom. There we go. So we will walk through all of this in a minute. Azure credential key. Let's double check this versus
Yeah.
this real
That's
quick.
an API key service client credentials. If you look under the authenticate method, it's a little bit down, a little bit up. There you go.
So is that new API service key credential collect? All right. Is that in here? Is that correct? Azure
No.
Azure key credential? No. So
and then you set the endpoint and the properties, I believe. That was what it said.
Yeah. So let's look at what it's coded up here. It's got the right idea, but not quite. So there are a couple overloads for this. There's the credentials. These are all credentials. So I guess that's what this is trying to new up. It seems like it's missing something, though. Seems like a lot more code than it should be.
No, but it's the wrong code. If you have a look in the example again, you can look at exactly what they did.
Let's take that out. I think that's leading us down a path to destruction.
If nothing else, it gave us a lot that we didn't need. So
yeah. So we need. Let's just take this. The console.write lines will get in the way a little bit, but
we can start here. So I'm guessing we need to change that key variable first. What it's actually getting it from.
So vision key, and then it's not environment variables either. So let's just grab that. This is what we have in the other file. So we did var endpoint, but it's going to be configuration. We need iConfiguration in this. So
you're on the class definition. Oh, right. Default constructors.
Yes, sir.
Ah, nice.
Configuration, and then open some braces in here. And Then we'll change the name of this. Why is that throwing?
Can I use?
Not null.
No,
that
can I
should
use
be
parameter
null
in
reference
this
assignment.
context? 9105.
Did I not do it here?
No, that's an actual
That's a
constructor.
regular constructor.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I don't know why. But we'll do a constructor then.
Yeah. I'm going to guess that it's setting those before. Yeah, they're static. So it could be set before the constructor is actually called.
Okay.
So if you try that with the default constructor again, just
And
for
then,
giggles.
what do we have here? Okay, we've got
OpenAPI key and OpenAPI endpoint. The
so we
vision
moved this
should be
up.
OpenAPI, and then you're golden.
Configuration. Then the vision endpoint. Now, these underscores that are green here that they say converting null, yada, yada, yada. What this is going to do is if these are null, then it would fail to authenticate. It's going to blow up.
Yeah.
So rather than allow a null here, so like one way to fix this would be to do string question mark.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that because if somebody doesn't fill that key in, it's just going to kind of throw an exception for no good reason.
Yes, you can add a bang.
Bang would do the same thing. It'd still
Yeah.
let us set that as null. I don't want to
Yeah.
let that happen. I want
Nope.
an invalid operation exception.
Argument
says,
null. No, right. It's not the argument itself.
The vision key.
You need to change vision key to OpenAPI key. Or, sorry, OpenAI key.
Now, OpenAI keys for.
All right, so
OpenAI
it's different
service.
keys. All right, gotcha.
It's going to be a different set of keys, yeah.
Mm.
For the Azure Vision Service or Azure Cognitive Vision API v 3.2 is not set. There we go. So, and that has to be a new exception.
Yeah.
So what this is doing is it's going to go into configuration, look for a vision key. If it's null, that's what that means. If it's null, throw an exception. If we didn't do that, it would allow the null through, and then it would throw an exception anyway, but it'd be a confusing exception.
Yeah, it'd be later as well.
Point. Yeah, it would throw it when it tries to authenticate, and then it'd be like, could not authenticate to this service, and then it's not enough context to tell the developer or possibly an end user at that point, because it might just be somebody that's deploying it. So it might be, your IT guy. So we'll put something a little more intelligent in there. We could make those more detailed as well. I mean, you could point it to documentation, or you could say this file in your environment variables or wherever that variable needs to be set. You could give like a definite location of where that needs to be set up, or a guide on how to do it. But this is a little bit better practice than just letting it be null and blow up. So we're going to configure those endpoints, and then we need to create the computer vision client. And we might need to put a backing.
Yeah, I think so.
Here. Like this might need to be a private member.
Yep.
Private computer vision client. That would be nullable because it's being created later.
Why? If we're
because
creating it
it's
in the constructor, it's not
oh,
going to
it's in the
complain.
constructor. You're right. Right.
So it could also be read-only.
Private only client.
We don't have the authenticate in
Ambiguity between
computer vision service client. Okay.
it's still it sees this one.
Oh, yeah.
And then we don't have an authenticate method.
We kind of do.
There it is.
Because the class itself is kind of messed up right now because it ends and so the constructor ends at line 15 and then the class itself ends at line 26 and then we have just dangling code after that.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's take this here. Computer vision client. No, that's either. So authenticate, we need to call, and then I guess, yeah, let's do what you said and fix this. Like we're in, let's move this up. Now we can call authenticate because it's in the method of the class or body of the class.
Yeah.
We're going to call authenticate. That gives us back our client. We have our client. Analyze image URL. Move this up here. We have just enough curly braces now.
Yep.
And I'm going to make them a little bit less because we could do that. Move that namespace up, and that removed a set of curly braces off of this.
Yeah.
So we don't want
console. You might have another naming conflict with client because your private field is called client as well. And then you create the object there, and you could just return new computer vision client from here.
Yeah.
Because you have client in that method, and you also have client in the class. Although the client in the class is read-only, so yeah, you can have a weird conflict here.
Could do this here.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now I like it.
Sure. So we call authenticate. We got that. And then I took this out temporarily. Where was this? Analyze image.
Yeah, that's just the call.
That's the call.
Yeah. And that was inside of a method. I think that was inside of the constructor.
Oh, okay.
Before,
this is exercising it.
Yeah.
This is calling this. That's actually exercising it.
Yeah.
So we want to take that out. And we want to call analyze image URL from somewhere. We don't want static async task. We want to return something.
Yeah. And also remove the static and remove the client in the argument list.
Right. Because this is all the statics need to go.
This
is going to be a service. This was originally a console app for anybody that's confused out there. Apologize. This images of a puppy. Let's take that and put it in here for now. And we'll take this here.
You're passing the client to this method on line 25, and we should use the private instance instead. So the first argument to that method should probably go.
Right. Good eye. I'm going to keep the image there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We want to have that later.
We'll replace this. Yeah, we'll need that later. But for now, we're going to use the temporary image, which we could essentially do this. We could make it temporarily so we could call it without an image and it'll just use that as the default. And then this is where we get back all of the features, set up what features we want it to get back.
Yeah.
So in this call here, we've got the visual feature types, and there are several kinds of things. We could do tags. We could do, let's see, we want color for sure. And then let's do description. And that'll give us all the tags for that image, which helps us categorize it at the color, the primary color that it finds, and a description of what it is. Those will all be handy because what we can do is we can build a display of all the images that we've uploaded and then have a list of images that has the theme color, but also has a description of it, and we can tag it for searching. So maybe we could have like a grid or display of cards or something that you can filter by tag and then find the color that you like and then apply it to the site.
This is something I'll be using.
Nice.
Because I'm loving what we're doing.
That was originally passed in. So we'll do the underscore client there. We'll call analyze image. We're going to pass in the URL and the features that we want to detect. And then we are writing everything out here. Let's take this out.
Do we want to return their DTO, or do we want our own and map it?
For now, I say, whoops, I don't need the equal sign. Let's return. Okay,
You hit zoom it. Oh,
or screenshot. Let's do a task of image analysis.
Wasn't that it?
And then what?
Oh, it's async, and you're returning a task. You need to await the return down there.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to return that image analysis back to the caller. And let's see if we're going to use that on. I mean, we could set up a DTO, but I don't know. It's going to be a lot of data.
Let's just use theirs. This is a demo.
Just use theirs. Exactly. And it's, it's full stack.net too. So let's see. Do we have these two projects are linked, but I think we're still going to need the package installed on the client once we get there. I don't know if we're quite there yet. We need to call this and see if we get anything back. We also need to set up our keys. And we have the service now. I'm pretty confident that it's going to work. So I'm going to go to Program CS. And in Program CS, we need to come in on
you need an endpoint,
the dependency injection.
Oh, DI first,
Builder services, computer vision service, and we don't have a reference to it. There's our services. We have another service. Did I not namespace that one?
You did not.
I did not. That's why it just worked. Or let's make sure we add a proper namespace here. Hopefully this won't break anything. And we are building, and we have 2 successful builds. We need to fix these later. Just a mental note. All right, so we've got the vision service injected. Now we need to be able to call it. So, actually, let's reuse this map get that we've got here. Just stamp another one out. And By the way, I don't know if this is a good time to mention this or not, but I found a nice hack for the GitHub Copilot integration. So one thing that you can do, and I don't know if everybody knows this or not, maybe it's just me, and I'm the one that's out of the loop. I found this out over the weekend last week. You can come up to the top of your file and you can prompt almost any kind of prompt engineering thing in here.
Yep.
So you can say, make the default minimal API setup like the code below. Below. And then you can comment in like actual code in here and kind of template out stuff. Let's see if this works. Worked for me this weekend.
Will that keep doing?
Whoa, that. Save that. Now watch. Let's see what happens if we start typing an app dot map. And then I'm going to pause for a minute. Come on.
I don't think it can
we go.
guess what your
It
I
got
don't
it.
think it guessed the verb.
It
But
needed
now
to
you got
get-
it.
Now it's repeated that exact template that I put up here. Isn't that cool?
It is.
There is all sorts of stuff you could put in here. And you can kind of feed your file at a file like scoped level of all the stuff that you'd like to prompt in. It doesn't have to be as specific as this. But you can make it, if you're following a pattern and you want to, there's linters and things that do a good job for this type of stuff too. But if you want something that's going to autocomplete, like template out things for you, people complain a lot about not cognitive services. Jeez, my brain hurts today. People complain a lot about Copilot spitting out code that's useless and stuff. This is one way to kind of hone that thing in. So you can come up here and do that. You can also ask questions in comments. This is fun. You could say, you kind of can't ask it in question form. You have to be more, what's the terminology for it? You have to be more assertive, I guess. You have to say, instead of saying what are, say the value types in C# are, let it think for a second, are, come on, the following. Enter, there we go, bool. Whoops. Oh, come on. Byte. And this will actually follow a format too. If you say number them, like number.
Nice.
See how it does that? So you can come in here, you can ask questions. Maybe you can open up chat to do these as well. But I found like this has an interesting workflow. Like you're trying to remember something, you're down here writing code, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to open up a comment and see what I get. So
you can access inline chat with a shortcut key, right?
There's a alt/, and that will do too.
I do that all of the time.
Works really well too.
Hey, ask it to build a Vision API endpoint.
You can also do it in comments here. So you can do the following method will make an HTTP get minimal. Oh, it was finishing it for me. API endpoint value at the path hello. So it's still prompting off of this, by the way. So it's getting some of that from there. We can say API / vision,
Mhm.
and then app dot boom. See how
There
it's
we go.
influencing? It influenced the next line. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it's
now
awesome.
we have comments already.
Mhm.
You could have done, like you said, oops, I hit the wrong button. You could have gone in here and asked it as well and typed in the same type of thing and said, create a method that will
Mhm.
take, and it would come up with the same type of thing, but then you don't have comments. So this, you could write,
But you can also ask it to write the comment.
you can.
If you're inside there and you just comment this method.
So there's a lot of ways to tackle it, but I
Yeah.
felt this is an interesting one because you get, you can spec out what you're doing in comments and then have it fill
Mhm.
in the code for
Yeah.
it.
I do that more than I'd like to admit. I'm not entirely, convinced of the awesomeness of all these chatbots, but for things like this where it actually does things, I really enjoy it. But everyone's just slapping AI on everything and adding a chatbot that's dumb. I think you showed the example of the Amazon, properties on a product chatbot. They could also ask to make a React app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I spun the app up and I'm going to drop in the URL and we're going to hit this breakpoint.
Yeah.
And as expected, we threw an exception. I
Hmm.
just wanted to show this. So this is the exception message you would get if you tried to deploy the app without the vision key. And it says the
Hmm.
vision key for the Azure Cognitive Services Vision API 3.2 is not set.
Yeah.
So we need to go fix that.
Snobble, I think you can.
So
I
I'm going to
think that's
take
100% possible to do.
I'm going to take this off screen for just a moment, and I'm going to go add those keys. So I'm going to talk through what I'm actually doing here. So I'm going to do manage user secrets because when I develop locally, that's where I like to keep mine. You could do them in
Same here.
environment variables if you want, but
Yeah.
I like the user secrets because I know they're not going to get published to GitHub because I may or may not have done that by accident before.
You should be using no docs as well, like one line said.
What is that? No docs?
Yeah, that's my extension.
Oh, no docs.
Yeah. It
And
hides your values in XML and JSON files when you open them, just in case you forget to switch over to, remove your screen from the
so it
screen.
does it in Visual Studio.
Yeah, exactly. You get a button, saying
let's do
show
it.
values.
Let's do. So it will do it in what types of?
XML and JSON.
Oh, and JSON. Okay, let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's bring the screen back.
So
Extensions.
it'll show your schema, but not the values.
Okay, cool. Manage extensions, and then no docs.
Yeah. Should find it. Add another X. No docs. Why? There you go. That's the one.
Install.
That took a while.
They really need to.
Yeah, but you can see the preview image there.
Like, why do I
If
have
you
to
man-
use Visual Studio?
I don't know.
You don't have to reboot Visual Studio Code.
No. Yeah. Scott, there's some kind of issue with Streamlab or StreamYard, sorry, because I can see myself move in the preview, but it freezes in on the actual stream.
I think it's a latency thing with StreamYard because you're in Sweden, I'm in the US, and God knows where StreamYard is at.
Yeah. I could try a thing because I'm set to full HD. So let's see if this works better. I'm now in 720. Maybe.
Ah, look at
It seems
that.
to be frozen again.
I
Yeah.
can't see my keys.
Yeah, you can see the button down below there. And
So-
if it's invalid JSON, so it can't parse it, it just hides everything.
So I need to get to this.
Now you can hide the screen and then add your stuff. Would be my recommendation, but it's just, it always opens on the main screen. So
I need to type it somewhere else. Oh, as soon as it's, I got you.
yeah, as soon as it's not valid JSON, it kills it. But the idea is to, that should work.
And then we need the endpoint as well. Oh yeah, I didn't need to hit copy and paste because AI is smart enough to do that for me.
Yeah.
I'll take these
Yeah.
out of here. What? Why can't I copy? There it goes.
I'm not sure if that.
I was getting a system
Maybe it does.
sound warning thing.
Hmm.
There we go.
There you go.
Vision key, and then
if you start typing there, it'll not show it.
But I need to go get it because I don't know what it is.
Yep.
Copy to clipboard. Paste from clipboard. And then I need my endpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird. It blurs out here, but it's like shown up here. It's like, is it a secret or is it not a secret?
Yeah. Can't quite decide it.
Let's
So yeah,
do
if you
that.
want to see what you've got the 2 buttons down below as well.
Cool.
So the idea is when you open your config file, your secrets file, and go, oh crap, I forgot to switch
too
the
late, right?
screen. Yeah.
Even if it's a second, it's too late.
Yep.
So now I should be able to go to API/vision, and I hit the return this time.
Yeah.
So let's see. We've got. It's still. Is it still a task?
Yeah, it should be.
Where's the response at?
Oh, right. You need to await it.
Yeah. So I'm not going to get anything here.
No. Return the full task object, and I'm not sure what happens if you're running a task after. Yeah.
We'll just do that temporarily.
Yeah.
And then I'll set the breakpoint on the return line. We'll do it one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, it's getting the puppy image, folks. So we're sending a puppy image to the API/API. And it returned something.
There you go.
And we should be able to iterate through. So we didn't, we had turned off. I didn't open the presentation view of this. Shoot. Let's try this instead. Let's look at it here. There we go. That's easier to see. We didn't turn on all the bells and whistles for this. So this is null. And that's null. That's null.
Yeah, because we didn't ask for it.
We didn't ask for that. But we do have values for color, description,
and tags in the bottom.
Tags. There's 15 tags. So let's see what it tagged it with. Remember, it was an image of a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And notice you get more than just like a basic string back. There's this confidence level. Like this is the percentage. So it's 99% sure that it's outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
There's a building in the photo. It's got sky. There's a stadium somewhere. Those are the tags it grabbed. The color is that, which we can't see in Visual Studio, but go on the browser and just hit it. And nope, I guess that works.
What happens if you add a hash first?
So it's got a blue there.
Yeah.
Let's try that. I think in Google,
I'm not sure.
If you're in Chrome, which I don't
Mm-hmm.
use on the show, or maybe it's just Google, not Chrome. Chrome messes with the stream. Google has a
That
search
picked the
result for it.
color. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see.
So
Okay,
Bing
Google
should
needs
get
the pound.
better.
Google needs the pound. So it
Yeah.
picked that blue color out of that puppy photo somewhere. And the accent color it picks up is not always the color that you would imagine. I'm just going to give you a little heads up.
No.
So it can be,
But that was probably from the sky.
yeah. So like it doesn't need even always mean it's the most prominent, like the most pixels on the
Mhm.
image. It's sometimes it's the focal object's color. So it's pretty smart at picking the dominant color. And
Mm.
then somehow I lost my autos. Why? I don't know why, but I lost. But we get the point, right? Like it's
Yeah.
getting stuff back. Our thing is working. We've got the accent color, foreground, background color. It's not black and white. All of those things were in
Yeah.
the object there.
So everything we asked for.
Yep. So we can send
Yeah.
that off to the client. The client can work with that. So
So for our specific example here, I'd say we should take a byte stream or a byte array as the argument to this.
yeah. So that's going to be something that we want to add
Mhm.
to our service in place of the string.
Yeah.
On the analyze
Yeah.
image. We're going to want to take a byte array. And this would be like,
Image data.
yeah, image data sounds good.
Just throwing ideas out there.
So we'll get the image data, and then we need to call the
Yeah.
the appropriate method on the client service. So
Yeah. Check the overrides.
yeah, this is something that can fail, by the way. So when you work with images and memory streams, I would generally wrap them in
Yeah.
in some kind of try catch, because problems can be had in here. So we're going to try to analyze the image. And then if we look at the
Hey,
overloads, oh, it's already trying to figure this out. Look at
Yeah.
that.
Who said that Copilot wasn't helping them?
Yeah, so Copilot just dropped
Did it?
some code for us here.
hmm I'm going to jump out, switch browser, and I will be right back.
Okay. So we need to pass it in that memory stream. And our service should be pretty good to go here. Getting that memory stream to the service is going to be the next trick. So how we do that is going to be part of the equation here. So our minimal API that we're using on program.cs is doing a get. And since we're sending an image from the Blazor client to the server, we are going to need we're going to need a post method. So this is going to have to be an HTTP post now. And when we do a post, we have to send a file. So we need to add another argument here of this is going to be, first of all, we need to tell this where to get actually that argument doesn't go here. It goes in here. And it's going to be an iForm file. So we're going to send a file via the iForm file interface. Let's see. Image for analysis. And
Does minimal APIs support the query verb?
query?
Yeah, there's a query verb in HTTP 2 and later, I believe. There's also
I'm
a
not
search
familiar.
verb. So, I mean, check
I know
if
what
there's a map
strings
query.
are. What would query do for us?
It's just another verb with that
Oh, okay.
take a body.
Oh, okay. So it'd be map query.
Yeah, if it
I'm
works.
not familiar with that one. Oops, I
It's
put from
I have
file
never used it either.
body.
I just looked it up.
No, it's from form. From form. Gosh, my brain does not work very well. Like I'm transposing from form
Yeah,
from
yeah,
we buy fum.
yeah.
So this is what we need to do.
hmm
We need to call post because we're going to send something to the server.
hmm
Get's not going to work for us here because we have to have an entire file uploaded. So, get can sometimes you can pass data into clear with get because you can append it as a query string. But
Yeah, not a
with a
full file.
file, yeah, you need to do something different with a file.
hmm
You actually have to post that inside of a form using an upload component of some kind.
hmm
So we're going to call map post, and then we're going to say from the form bind to the file that the user uploaded, and then pass that to the computer vision API as a byte array. So now we need to read the byte array, and this is where stuff can get tricky. Let's try a little GitHub Copilot here. Read the image into a byte array, and so we're going to need a byte array of image data. Yeah, why didn't it give us the nullable version of it? Like it should probably be the nullable. We're going to start off with nothing. What does this say? Oh, it's signed but never used. No kidding. So we're going to new up a memory stream because we have to take the data from the file. The image for analysis is the iForm file interface.
Yeah.
We're going to call copy to async on it, and then push that into the memory stream.
Yeah. So technically here, we're converting it to a memory stream to a byte array, and then we are converting it back from a byte array back to a memory stream inside of analyze image URL.
Yes, that is correct.
So we could
Now,
skip half of it
we could, but there be dragons.
if we want. Yeah. Oh, yes.
There definitely are
Mm.
dragons.
I
So,
would use about an array personally.
what ends up happening here is if you go directly from the byte array to the image analysis method, the byte array is not it being read in the right direction.
Yeah.
And it comes across the wire as gibberish.
Yeah.
So if you read
There's
it in this manner and then write it back out, it comes out the right way. If that makes sense. indexing the byte array
Yeah.
from the start of the stream.
When you're passing around existing instances of streams, there's always the risk that someone somewhere seeks or gets data from the stream, and then you don't know where your pointer is. Or
Yeah.
so you could be in the middle of the stream after calling something, and yeah, you'll always have to remember to what's it called? Rewind it, seek to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to explain. You explained
Yeah.
it better. I'm thinking that this generated code is missing something. And
Can't
first off, it's that.
iForm file have a list of files?
Yes, even if it's a single iForm file, there is an iForm files interface, right? Or is it just iForm file? I thought there was two interfaces.
Is
But
there a list
this
of
indeed
files
does.
inside of that?
Yeah, so this one, it can take multiple files.
Mhm.
So I'm surprised we're able to do this because we really
Mhm.
need to do that, I thought. Oh, that's what it is. There are two interfaces. We
Oh.
need the iForm file collection.
Ah.
And then there's an issue with the with uploading from Blazor um, that you need to use the iForm files collection even if it's a singular file, and I can't remember why. And it may be the component that I use to do it. It might be the Telerik component because it's flexible and it can do both. It just
Mhm.
uses the one set of collections.
So it could be just a config issue in the Blazor app.
Yeah, so I used this last time I did some file uploading. I think it
Mhm.
might be our component. It just uses that because it's easier to do, to do one or many. Since the component can do one or many, then you just default to this and grab the first one rather than try to implement two different interfaces.
Yeah.
So we'll use that one because I believe that's what we're going to end up using on the front end. And then let's see, this syntax is old. There's another way to do a using statement without having to box it like this. So we can take,
Yeah, you can just do semicolon after
using var like
and
that, right?
semicolon.
And then end it.
Yeah. And now we'll have a using until the end of this method.
And then this will automatically create a using wrapper around where it needs to be.
No, it goes down to 61, I believe.
Yeah, but it does it by itself. And
Yeah,
then
yeah. You don't need to care.
We should probably save the data as well because what we don't want to upload the photo every time
No.
because we want to create like a list of these things. So first of all, we want to upload it from the browser, send it
Mhm.
to the web API to analyze, but then when we're done, we want to show the image back on the page.
Yeah.
So we don't want to throw
Doesn't
the image away.
doesn't the form file collection and then inside of there also have a file name or something that we could use as an indexer?
Yes. Good point. So we'll save this file to the www root folder.
Mhm.
And is that correct? I think that. Copy to async. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think it
Yeah,
got it.
I believe so. I think you need to close the file stream as well. File stream dot close or whatever
Well,
it
we
might
got a
be.
using statement here that should,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that should close it.
Mm.
And then we need to push the image bytes up to
Yeah.
the analyze image URL. So we're going to read the byte array, save it to disk, send it to the service, analyze the image.
Yeah. Shouldn't we be caching the result of the analysis, not the image itself, if we want to save on calls?
Say that again.
Uh, I mean, if we want to save on calls to the Vision API,
Mm-hmm.
we should probably be caching the Vision results instead of the bytes in the image, because here it'll always it'll always call the API, right?
Yeah. So
Well,
this is just on the initial analysis. So what we'll do is we really didn't discuss, I guess, the front end too much.
yeah.
Um, let's run the app real quick, just so we have
Mhm.
something visual. If it'll run, I didn't think it might not compile. Okay,
It did.
compiled. That's a good sign. It's always a positive, right?
Mm.
So we'll have the dashboard, or the we'll have a thing here, and then we'll have something to upload the file. So we'll have a form to upload, and then we'll have some sort of list that will have our images in it of past uploads.
All right. But
So
we'll
what we need,
always reanalyze it if
we don't
we
even
ask
need
for it.
to necessarily reanalyze it. We could put a database in.
Hmm.
So we'll upload it, and then it'll come back with the item with the image in it. So we still need to save the image off somewhere because it needs to display in all of these spots here.
Yeah.
And then the data from it would have to come from some sort of database somewhere.
Yeah.
So
For the
this would be
demo,
like
you
your
could just create a
statics.
static uh, list or something,
Yeah.
or a
So
static dictionary, because as long as the local server is up, then that'll stick around.
so you would need some sort of database, whether it's in memory or SQL or something
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, and scoops, absolutely, absolutely.
is that.
Caching result with the incoming file name as the key.
Yeah.
Mm.
So let's see, where are we at
But for
here?
now, we can just call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'll leave this return statement hanging out here so we can put a breakpoint on it and make sure that
Yep.
this works. We've got our service set up.
Yeah, we haven't tried it with image data, but we know that it worked with the image URL.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like it should work.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be good on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's I'm kind of hitting a hard limit here, so I'm gonna have to say we'll have to finish this next week. But we can move to the front end next week. And
Sounds
just to
awesome.
kind of kick things off, let's close these pages out and go to pages, add razor component, and then we'll say this is going to be our theme chooser dot razor.
Mm-hmm.
And in here, theme chooser is going to be our route, I guess, be all lowercase. And where is, it's under, did I put
It's
under
on
models?
components, I believe.
It's
Yeah.
layout.
And then in main layout.
Probably, oh, it's code behind. Probably move this
Oh.
somewhere else so it's easier to find. This just came off the template, so
Mm-hmm.
drawer item, nope. Drawer item reference, drawer to render, nope. Methods. Where's all of our drawer items at?
Probably in the constructor. So out of 4, it
Is
is
there a
the 4.
model?
Line
There's a model.
43.
Drawer items. There it is.
Oh.
Drawer items data. There we go. New text. It's going to be
Shoes theme.
I'm going to change that URL to match it.
Yeah.
Keep sparkles there. Choose.
Yeah, didn't we agree last time that sparkles is the global identifier for AI?
Yeah. Oh, let's do image. Let's see what image ad looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in there. Then run that again. And then, Thindle, do you want to look and see if there's somebody we can raid?
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second.
See, I used your Twitch name there.
We could raid one lion. He was here earlier.
Alrighty. He's streaming.
Yeah.
We'll raid him.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll go into this theme chooser and we will add a form. We're going to have to add a service on the client side also.
Yeah.
So we'll add a service on the client side. We'll add a form to that page that I just added here. And we'll do like a Telerik card component to show the results in. So we'll have like a Telerik upload component. You drag and drop a file into it. It'll shoot it off to Azure Vision. It'll come back with a color and the photo in a card. I think it'll be the next episode. Sound good?
Sounds awesome. And since we have the entire backend, famous last words and jinxing it should be easy,
Should
right?
just work. Should just work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Should be easy.
Yep. I spent 45 minutes fighting paths and working directories last time I was on. Should just work. And it didn't. Yeah, exactly, Scoops. Famous last words.
Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next week. See you guys later.
See you, everyone.